Good morning. Welcome to the online service of the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton, joyfully making our way step by step back to live streaming once again from our sanctuary. We begin with our land acknowledgement. The city of Hamilton is situated upon the traditional territories of the Erie, Neutral, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Mississaugas. This land is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, which was an agreement between the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe to share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. As settlers, we continue to benefit from the land and its resources. As settlers, we must ask ourselves how or if we have shared and cared for the earth and its gifts. Facing the truth is hard, but truth must come before reconciliation. My name is Tim Versteeg, and it is my pleasure to serve as a religious educator in our church. Speakers this morning are Reverend Jamie Boyce, Petra Versteeg, and myself. Our musicians this morning are Rachel Derry, Cindy Carey, and the Hamilton Zoom Choir. Technical support for this morning's service is provided by Brian Carey, Marianne Forbes, Josh McIntyre, John Elliott, and Bruce McPherson. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are this morning, and wherever you are on your journey of faith or search for meaning, today you're one of us, and you're welcome in this worship service. Our mission is to nurture one another, to serve the community, and to inspire action to heal the world. Our chalice represents the light of hope at the center of our faith tradition. The spark of this flame draws us into our time of worship and community. Please join me in reading the chalice lighting words now shared on the screen with us. Please join me in saying our chalice lighting words. May this flame be our light of friendship and love.
Good morning. My name is Jamie Boyce, and I have the great privilege of serving this congregation as its interim minister. Welcome to the service of lament, reflection, and inspiration as we consider the horizon of our faith, the future we are living into even as difficulties and sufferings unfold in our world and in our lives. Today, I invite you to be inspired by the hope of the generations with three reflections. Let us open our hearts and minds as we gather for worship on this glorious day.
Number 338, I seek the spirit of a child. I seek the spirit of a child, the child who meets life naturally, the child who sings the world alive and greets the morning sun with glee. Children
am filled with hope. Today, even as we witness the ravages of war unfolding in Ukraine, even as democracy is threatened globally and the rise of authoritarian governments threaten to unwind the common good, even as we feel the strain of the pandemic in our lives, the hope, the pain, the suffering, I am filled and overcome with hope. As Reverend Dr. Cornell West said, I am a prisoner of hope. And he reminds us that hope is a posture that looks at the world and says, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. Reverend Dr. West writes in the preface to his 1997 book, Restoring Hope, hope enacts the stance of the participant who actively struggles against the evidence in order to change the deadly tides of wealth inequality, group xenophobia, and personal despair. Dr. West continues, only a new wave of vision, courage, and hope can keep us sane and preserve the decency and dignity to revitalize our organizational energy for the work to be done. That sentiment resonates in me and through me today. I am a prisoner of hope, caught in a vision and faith that transcends the conditions and circumstances of this day. I've been called naive in my life, and that doesn't matter. My heart is full of love. My life is full of hope. My being is alive and resonating with the simple truth. My Unitarian Universalist faith moves the hand of justice in my life, and I see it moving in the life of this community. Let me say that again. It feels so real. I feel the hand of justice moving in my life, and I see it moving in the life of this community too. This movement, this flourish of possibility gives me hope. I witnessed hope in action earlier this week when we gathered for Family Day to play in the snow, to celebrate community, and to welcome people of all ages, of all backgrounds, to our building and grounds. It is in these moments that despair lifts, and I notice that our tiny place in the world is changing the world with our values, our commitments, and love of life. Watching our wee ones frolic in the snow with the elders of our community close by, as young adults in our community also found a place to express themselves, while parents were connecting with each other, gives me hope. The future of our faith emerges from the hearts and minds, the smiles and gifts, the clarity and hope of children, youth, and young adults in our community. It is a place of all ages, of every age. I was reminded as the hot cocoa arrived of the sage wisdom of religious educator Sophia Lyons-Vaz. Life becomes religious whenever we make it so. When some new light is seen, when some deeper appreciation is felt, when some larger outlook is gained, when some nobler purpose is formed, when some task is well done. The horizon of our faith, a promise of Unitarian Universalism, is exactly this, a place for hope and love to thrive and be renewed, even as despair moves through the world. A place for people of all ages to find community and connection and answer the call of love and justice in the world. I share this short video from Family Day with you today in the spirit of affirming a joy that knows no bounds and hope in the midst of heartache and fear. May the light of love find us all.
One of the pleasant surprises on Monday as we gathered together as a congregation and a community was we were joined by some surprise visitors who are spending a couple of months in our city all the way from Saudi Arabia. It's a young mother and her husband. The mother is doing a placement at St. Joseph's Hospital, and they were joined by their 2.5-year-old son, and it was the first time he'd seen snow, and it was quite a joyous occasion watching him frolic in the snow, throwing snowballs at Petra, and kicking little cones around the parking lot as his parents connected with members of our congregation. And it reminded me of this story that I'm going to read this morning, which is both an extension of our Black History Month celebrations and also a celebration of somebody who is coming to our country for the first time and seeing snow for the first time.
Our story this morning is Malaika's Winter Carnival, words by Nadia L. Hahn, and pictures by Irene Blexbacher. My girl, look at you. You almost as big as me, Mummy laughed. She pressed me into her flower dress with her soft belly and smell of cocoa butter beside my head. Grandma hugged us too. I didn't want to let go. When I look up, I see a tall, pale man smiling at me. Malaika, baby, this is Mr. Frederick. Frederick, this is my little Malaika, Mummy say. Enchanté, Malaika, he said, with a different talk than Mummy, and his hand stretched out to me. I don't know what to do. Galang, child, shake he hand. It's the custom, Grandma say, patting my shoulder. I put my small hand up to his big hand, and he shakes it. I'm Adele, said a girl with the same different talk as Mr. Frederick. We are going to become famille sisters soon. She kissed me on two sides of my face. I'm the flower girl at Mummy and Mr. Frederick's wedding. Grandma plait my hair with flower and ribbon. Smile, Malaika, you fit that dress so nice, said Mrs. Chen, the tailor lady. Everyone from our district come to the church to see Mummy marry the French-Canadian with his red-haired little girl. Look, Adele said, pointing to Mr. Frederick kissing Mummy. I cover my eyes. After we go to the beach at Cuddy's restaurant, where sweet reggae music play, the Chinese lanterns grow, and the crickets call quiet ocean waves. Mummy and Mr. Frederick look so happy. I sit by myself, then Adele come, pull me up to dance. I don't want to dance. Every day I help Grandma bake sweetbread, fry fish, and make her special coconut drops. Grandma cooked this food when someone leave our district. One day we visit the beach where I build castles and bury Adele in the stand. Then she run into the waves to wash it all off. Then we do it all over again. On the last day, Uncle Ewart throw a big cookout, and all of my cousins and school friends come to see us off. Even my teacher come. I cry and cry. Malika, I know this won't be easy, but I think you're gonna like Canada, Mummy say as she holds me. The next day, Uncle Ewart and Cousin Fitzroy pack a minibus to get ready to drive us all off to the airport. But first I hug Grandma for a long time. She waved at us from the house, holding her tissue. When our airplane land, Mummy give me a big purple coat with fur on the hood to put on. I step outside and my body feel cold all over. I see a white puff when I breathe out. Bienvenue de Quebec, Malika, Mr. Frederic say. You will share your room with Adele and have your own bed, Mummy say. Like sisters, Adele say. She makes a toothy grin. The next day I go to my new school. Mummy make me wear a long pants called long johns, 2 pairs of wool socks, an undershirt, a turtleneck, a sweater, and a coat. I have 2 pairs of mitts on and a hat they call a toque and earmuffs. The boots are a little big, but Mr. Frederic said they will last 2 winters. When I get there, the children speak a different way. The teachers speak a different way. No one understands me. I hate it. One day, Mummy and Mr. Frederic take Adele and me to what they call carnival. Adele pulled my hand over to her snow castle made with colorful cones, green and blue and red and yellow, but I don't care. This is no carnival. I don't see no costumes. This is an ugly castle. I hate it. I scream. I kick down the snow castle. I pick off the ice cones and throw them on the ground. They make a sound like breaking glass. Adele's face looked like it break apart too. The next morning, Mummy wake me up. There's someone who want to see you, she say. She put the computer on my lap. Grandma, I say. Malika, is that you? She says, squinting her eye. Seeing Grandma make me think about goats on the roadside and Chenep and shiny black shoes at church. Think about warm breeze and roosters crowing in the morning and poinsettia flowers at Christmas time. Think about school uniform and roasted bread food with salt and all of my friends and cousins. Grandma make me feel so happy again that I reach out to hug her, but I can't. We both cry when she has to go. Out the window I see Adele pour red water onto the snow, then pack the snow into cups, then green water, then blue water, then yellow. I put on my coat, hat, and all my things and run outside. I take a deep breath. I'm sorry, Adele. She smiled and then give me a big hug. We look up at the fat snowflakes falling from the sky. Malika, mangeons, she says. What? I say. Let's eat, she says. She opened her mouth as the tiny ice crystals land on her tongue. I do the same and gobble each one. I smile a big smile, then I start to laugh and she do too. I laugh with my sister until my belly hurt. And that's the end of our story.
Number 318, We Would Be One. We would be one, as now we join in singing our hymn of love, to pledge ourselves anew to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other, to show to all a new community. We would be one in building for tomorrow a nobler world
Unitarian Universalism may be a creedless religion, but it is not a faith where you can believe anything. In fact, it may be the most challenging and demanding religion of all, as it asks us to continually and consistently hold up our behaviors and actions against an aspirational set of principles that challenge each of us to learn more, be better, and save the world. Looking around us, it seems obvious that the world we live in needs saving on many different levels. In our city, our country, and our world, we can be a voice for so many values which are often silenced or opposed. This is the great promise of our denomination's future. Events right now in Ukraine, the recent protests, and I use that word loosely, in Ottawa, last year's attempted insurrection in the U.S. Capitol have all revealed and reinforced that we live in a world where democracy is being challenged domestically and abroad. Political polarizations are allowing extreme voices emboldened by money and hatred to seize and hold power in countries across the world. And in such a world, we need this faith. We need this place, guided by the foundation of congregational polity, in which every congregation is self-governing and self-supported. Here, we practice our fifth principle, the right of conscience and the use of democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. Our church is a collection of people who covenant with each other to be in relationship to work for the greater good in the world. And through this covenant, we commit to staying at the table and working things through. We understand the responsibility and privilege of being able to have a voice and a vote in our church and in our society. It informs the way we raise our children, the way we make decisions for our church, and it is an obligation to use our voices and listen to others. Ours is a living faith which adapts, a living tradition that responds to new changes around it. It is not a tradition that demands or expects unchanging orthodoxy. Our newly adopted eighth principle challenges us to examine and overcome oppressions present in our institutions and ourselves. With a growing disparity between rich and poor, we are a voice to defend the inherent worth and dignity of all people, work for equity in all things and across all differences in race, class, sexuality, and ability. Unitarian Universalists are big picture thinkers who understand that everything is connected, that as long as any human being suffers, we are all diminished, that all religions and cultures hold pieces of the truth and should be valued, and that each person is called to responsibly search for meaning. It is why our programs for children and youth are called religious exploration rather than education, decentering the power dynamic of teachers and students into a community of co-learners. A church is one of the only institutions left in our world where generations mingle freely and learn from each other. At our best, we all learn together in this church. Our multi-generational community is a continuum of past, present, and future. It is a church where our spiritual practices and actions do not begin and end on Sunday. Our church gives us a safe and supportive home where we build a template to guide us throughout the week. Being a Unitarian Universalist informs how we are in our homes, with our families, with our friends, and in the world. So looking to the horizon, let us remember what we have to offer each other and the world. Because here, the concept of family is expansive. The definition of gender is fluid. Intersectionality identities are recognized and celebrated, and we are a part of nature, not outside it. Our vision of the future is hopeful, not a naive, foundationless hope of blind faith, but a grounded hope of the power of human cooperation, science, and connections. Connection and curiosity are the core of UU theology. Lifelong learning is the tool for its spiritual practice. I'd like to leave you with words from one of my favorite hymns in the Teal hymn book, number 1020, Woyaya. The UUA website shares that the song was written by Ghanaian drummer Saul Marifio. Woyaya is the title song of a 1971 album by Oibisa, a musical group of Ghanaian and Caribbean musicians. It was frequently heard in work camps throughout Central West Africa in the 1970s and 1980s. The arrangement and singing The Journey comes from a version by Issei Barnwell, Sweet Honey in the Rock. Woyaya, like many other African scat syllables, can have many meanings. According to the song's composer, it means, "We are going." The lyrics of this song, I feel, point us towards a horizon full of hope and promise, one that may be a difficult journey, but achievable if we take it together. We are going. Heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will.
I invite us into a spirit and place of reflection and meditation. I invite you to discover a place of rest and centering, perhaps noticing your breath, perhaps closing your eyes, and allow yourself to be fully present to this moment. This week we witnessed once again the ravages of war unfolding in our world. Our hearts break open with grief and compassion as fear and terror take root in Ukraine and bombs explode, destroying lives. Love calls us to name this as an injustice and affirm the right of people everywhere to live in peace and dignity. Today, we open our hearts to the Ukrainian people. We pray for their safety, for their access to food and medical care and safe housing. We pray for the elders and children, for families separated. We pray for the end of their suffering. We hold today all the Ukrainian Canadians in our community across the country as they suffer worry and loss. May we be a source of comfort to our neighbors and good friends at this time. We know that there are Russian citizens risking their safety to protest the actions of their leaders. May they be fortified with courage and kept safe as they speak truth to power in their own country. Even in the midst of our worry, grief, and sorrow, may we continue to discover a world of beauty around us that holds us and sustains us in the days ahead. Let us glory in being together in a time of silence.
May we have eyes that delight in beauty, the majesty of nature, the wonder of a smile. Let us glory in being together. May we have eyes that delight in beauty, the majesty of nature, the wonder of a smile. Let us glory in being together. May we have eyes that delight in beauty, the majesty of nature, the wonder of a smile. Let us glory in being together. May we have eyes that delight in beauty, the majesty of nature, the wonder of a smile. Let us glory in being together.
Good morning. As many of you know, I grew up in the church and have been attending since I was a year old. I am very involved with multi-generational activities and am a huge proponent of what we can learn from others. Throughout my time in the church and aging into youth and young adulthood, I have had the chance to become the other side of multi-generational links. One of my first multi-generational activities as a child was Mystery Friends, where children and adults get paired up and write letters to each other without knowing the other person's identity. I have childhood memories with my mystery friends, practicing my letter writing and getting excited to open the letter written to me every week. I also got to pay the experience forward, and before the pandemic was able to participate as one of the adult mystery friends this time around. Seeing the children trying to solve clues and asking around to try to reveal who their mystery friend was encourages the kids to speak with the adults, learn more about their experiences, and find common interests. I still remember my mystery friends from childhood and still have bonds with them to this day in the church. Navigating coffee hour pre-COVID as a child helped me hone my conversation skills and be comfortable speaking with adults who are not related to me or teaching me. This came in handy when I started applying for jobs and had to interview, or even things like making calls to the dentist. There's a lot of people at the coffee hour, and you have to say hi to most of the people you know, remember their names, and remember things about them, which can be a lot when you're a kid. But you practice it and learn how to make these connections with adults, and it helps create a sense of community when the adults take the time to get to know you, know your name, and take an interest in your activities in life. My first job was working in the church with the children, helping create programming, getting everything ready, and mostly interacting with the children as more of a supervisor than I had been used to. It also helped make sure I attended church weekly because, well, it was my job. I got to work with even more members of the church through this position, and it was another full circle moment where I was working with some of the folks who did the programming for me when I was a kid. Through coming of age, I got to know Mary Scott, who worked as my mentor, and I hold those memories very dear to me. Being in middle school and getting out of that bubble was so needed, and to be able to talk to someone about meaning and beliefs and essentially everything about the church helped strengthen my connection to the Unitarian Universalist faith. Getting comfortable public speaking is another talent I picked up in the church. Doing a presentation to your 30-kid high school class is not as daunting after you've outlined your personal belief system in front of 100 people who are, for the most part, older than you. I learned how to organize events, lead events, even helped create a faux fall festival one year to help raise money for the youth to attend Canoodle, our National Youth Conference. Many of the skills that I learned or picked up at church have led me to where I am today. I'm in my second year of university, and when I was looking for a placement, Pat Dickinson helped put in a good word for me at Eva Rothwell, which helped me get the co-op. Working with kids at the church helped me get a job at a summer camp as well as babysitting gigs for some of the children who attend our church. Being multi-generational can be as easy as going to the UU Families event over Zoom, volunteering with the children once we're back in person, getting to know the children and their talents, or simply having a conversation with someone outside of your age group. Thanks.
Number 1057, Go Lift It Up.
Go lift it up, love bless your way, moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace and the brightness of day. Go lift it up, love bless your way, moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace and the brightness of day.
Go, beloveds, lifted up in hope for the future of our faith. Know and trust that we are sowing the seeds of justice and love among us. They will transform the world and affirm peace everywhere. May the light of love shine down upon you and radiate into the world as acts of kindness, compassion, and hope. May it be so until we meet again.
Many windows, one light, many waters, one sea, all lifted hearts are free. Many windows, one light, many waters, one sea, all lifted hearts are free.
In the Talmud of the Jewish tradition, the sage Hillel said, "What is hateful to you, do not do to others." This is the whole of the law. All the rest is commentary.
In the Hindu legend of the Mahabharata, the divine Krishna declared, "This is the sum of duty. Do nothing unto others which would cause you pain if done to you. It is written, it is taught. May it be so."
Many windows, one light, many waters, one sea, all lifted hearts
Gospel of Matthew, in the Christian Scriptures, the Messiah Jesus says, "Whatever you wish that others would do to you, do so to them."
In the Buddhist text of the Udanavarga, the student is urged, hurt not others in ways that you yourself would find hurtful. It is written, it is taught, may it be so.
Many windows, one light, many waters, one sea, all lifted hearts are free.
In the Muslim hadith of Al-Nawawi, the Prophet Muhammad teaches, "No one of you is a believer until he desires for his brother what he desires for himself."
In the Te Shang Treatise of Taoism, the seeker is instructed, regard your neighbor's gain as your gain, and your neighbor's loss as your own loss. It is written, it is taught, may it be so.
Many windows, one light, many waters, one sea, all lifted hearts are free.
In the ancient wisdom of Shinto, there is a saying, "The heart of a person before you is a mirror. See there your own form."
The Oglala Lakota spiritual leader, Black Elk, wrote, "All things are our relatives. What we do to everything, we do to ourselves. It is written, it is taught, may it be so."
Many windows, one light, many waters, one sea, all lifted hearts are free.
Shanti, Shalom, Hasiti, Salam, Hewa, Dohiyi, Pax, Paxomir. 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 Shanti, Shalom, Hasiti, Salam, Hewa, Dohiyi.